I'll try with the.
No, any meter is fine. No, trying is more important. Please try.
ज्ञानं गुह्यतमं यत्तत् साक्षात् भागवतोत्थितम् अन्ववोचन् गमिष्यन्ता कृपया दीनवत्सला.
Very nice, Mataji.
ज्ञानं
You recited in the almost the same way devotees used to chant in Prabhupada's classes. Please go ahead, Mataji, word for word.
ज्ञानं knowledge, guhyatamam most confidential, yat what is, tat that, sakshat directly, bhagavata uditam propounded by the Lord himself, anva vochan gave instruction, gamishyanta while departing from, kirpaya by causeless mercy, deenavatsala those who are very kind to the poor and meek. Translation by His Grace Srila Prabhupada. As they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantas who are very kind to poor hearted souls instructed me in that most confidential subject which is instructed by the personality of Godhead Himself. Prabhuji has
Yes.
to read the purport also.
Uh, so before we go to the purport, just in
Okay.
small summary, no. So the Bhakti Vedantas are leaving. The Chaturmasya is over. 4 months of rainy season is over, and now they are leaving. So all these 4 months, Narad Muni was serving them. He came to a point where he was so much attached to them, isn't it? That's what we were discussing last session also on this topic, right? So they were leaving, but then by continuously hearing, serving them, and following their instructions, Narad Muni became so much attached to them because the subject matter that which they were speaking among themselves, when he heard, he became very much attracted to the subject matter, and because of that, he is also attracted to them uh, very much. So much he was attached to them, and as a result, um, he can't stay away from them even for a few moments. He was always thinking how to serve them. Or if they, he was looking forward to, he was waiting. When will the time come when I could go and talk to them, serve them, hear them speak about Krishna? That attachment naturally comes. And that's the first starting point is hearing. Actually, hearing is the first point because in hearing, we are actually doing a very important service. Shravanam is a very, very important seva. It's a very, not only important, it is also the most effective service. Because when we start hearing, slowly the knowledge goes inside, and then we will start, when it starts making sense, the respect for that person actually grows. Service actually means it should keep increasing our reverence for the person to whom we are rendering service. If the service is not increasing our reverence, respect for that person, as well as the service also, then it is not the service that is done in a proper mood. You see, so it's very important point that we should meditate on, because a service at the end of the day should be pleasing to the one whom we serve. Correct? If the service that we do is not pleasing to the person to whom the service is rendered, then what is the use of that service? Right? So if we have to, if the object of our service should be pleased, then the right mood is very much important. The right mode of surrender, right mode of service, right? The right mode of hearing, the right mode of awe and reverence, and all these things should be there in order to make that service potent and effective. So why hearing is a very effective service? Because when we serve, when we hear, naturally the knowledge which we are hearing, when the knowledge is, the subject matter is very powerful and potent, then what happens is, um, it creates the necessary purification in our heart. And in that process, it also increases our awe and reverence for the person who is speaking that knowledge. The knowledge, first of all, the knowledge makes sense. And then the person who speaks also makes sense. Many times what happens is we may not know, we may not know the um, importance or greatness of the person who is speaking, right? The subject matter also we may not know how significant it is. We don't know. But when the subject matter is in here, the first thing that um, uh, creates the change in our heart is the sense the knowledge is making to us, isn't it? So anybody may say something. He says something about, hey, this body and soul are different. You are not the body, you are the soul, etc., etc. We threw some examples. Then what will we do? Immediately, that knowledge only first attracts us. We may not even know who that person who is speaking. Now, many times you will see people experiencing this. So what happens? Yeah, yeah, what he's saying is making sense. Then we will ask, hey, who is this person who is speaking? Correct? Yes or no? How many times it has happened to us?
Yes, Prabhu.
Sometimes we may know with the person, we may know some greatness about that person, and then we will go automatically go, hey, we might be speaking something great, whatever. Then we'll say that also happens naturally. But then when you don't know anything, when you don't know the person, you don't know the subject matter, whatever. Uh, After that, when you, I mean, in that situation, when you go and hear somebody speaking, you may not give so much importance to the person who is speaking. But when you are giving that importance to the subject matter, that is what Guru Shushrushaya Sevaya, it's said, by hearing from him and acting on him, acting on his instruction, that's how we do the sevas. First is hearing. So when we are hearing and when we are convinced by that knowledge, then automatically the awe and reverence for the knowledge as well as the knower, the speaker grows. That is why hearing is always considered as one of the most important and potent seva. And Narada Muni did that because he didn't know anything about those Bhakti Vedantas. He was simply serving and he was hearing them talking and all those things. So the subject matter was creating the necessary purification or transformation inside his heart. And then slowly he started thinking, hey, these people are talking so much about the subject matter. So definitely they must be great people. So I should serve them. No? So then the conscious serving comes. Initially, it's unknowingly we are serving through hearing. That hearing is also a service that we are doing to them. But without knowledge, we are doing it. Later, when we are what do you call, when we gain that respect for that knowledge, then the person who is speaking also uh, starts we are showing respect to that person also. So that is why it started with the hearing process. Now this Bhaktivedantas are now giving to this knowledge to Narad Muni, and then they are that's why he's saying he's very kind to the poor-hearted souls. Very kind to the poor-hearted souls is the phrase that is used here. Um, that is actually Dina Vatsala. Those who are very kind to the poor and meek. So he is very much appreciative of this the service which this Bhaktivedantas have done. Uh, so now they are before they are leaving, they are very compassionate towards Narad Muni, and then they see that okay, now we are leaving. He needs he needs that confidential knowledge which by which he will survive on his own, which he can practice and continue to survive on his own. And then they are that most confidential subject, which Krishna himself instructed, they are instructing that same subject matter. Now, this is the point. We'll just read the purport now. Anybody would like to read the purport?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Prabhu, as long as Gauranga is happy.
Yes, Prabhu. A pure Vedantist or Bhakti Vedanta instruct followers exactly according to the instructions of the Lord Himself. The personality of Godhead, both in the Bhagavad Gita and in all other scriptures, has definitely instructed men to follow the Lord only. The Lord is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. The whole manifested creation is existing by His will, and by His will, when the whole show is finished, He will remain in His eternal abode with all His paraphernalia. Before the creation, He was there in the eternal abode, and after the annihilation, He will continue to remain. He is not, therefore, one of the created beings. He is transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that long, long before the instruction was imparted to Arjuna, the same was instructed to Sun God. And in course of time, the same instruction, being wrongly handed and being broken, was again instructed to Arjuna because he was his perfect devotee and friend. Therefore, the instruction of the Lord can be understood by the devotees only and no one else. The impersonalist, who has no idea of the transcendental form of the Lord, cannot understand this most confidential message of the Lord. The expression "most confidential" is significant here because knowledge of devotional service is far far above knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Jnanam means ordinary knowledge or any branch of knowledge. This knowledge develops up to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Above this, Prabhuji, can you scroll up, please? Above this, when it is partially mixed with devotion, such knowledge develops to knowledge of Paramatma or the all pervading Godhead. This is more confidential, but when such knowledge is turned into the pure devotional service of and the confidential part of the transcendental knowledge is attained, it is called the most confidential knowledge. The most confidential knowledge was imparted by the Lord to Brahma, Arjuna, Uddhava, etc.
So Prabhupada is explaining very deeply on this most confidential knowledge, right? So who can explain from where this most confidential knowledge is coming from?
From Lord Krishna.
From Bhagavad
Yes,
Gita.
that is. So here we are talking about the most confidential knowledge. Krishna himself directly says these words in few places in both Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. That's why Prabhupada is referring to three people here, at least minimum, etc. He says, but minimum three people are very, very obviously revealed here.
One is sun god.
No. Here, sun god, of course, is there, but in the last
Okay,
line, he is telling.
Brahma, Arjuna, and Uddhava.
Yeah. So Arjuna, obviously, Bhagavad Gita, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some in Bhagavatam also is there, 15th chapter. But Brahma, what did he teach? Where does it come?
From
When he was
Chatusloki
born.
Gita. Chatusloki Bhagavat Prabhu.
Brahma Samhita.
Brahma Samhita also, but then Chatusloki Bhagavatam, correct. But can we take that chapter? Which chapter is that? 2.9?
2933.
Take
33.
33 to 36, but before that he actually says that this is the most confident. The exact word he's using there. Can you take 2.931? Yeah, clearly he says that. Jnanam Paramaguhyam. Can somebody read the verse and
Sri Bhagavan Vacha Jnanam Param Guhyam Me Yad Vidnana Samanvitam Sarahasyam Tadangam Cha Gruhana Gaditam Maya. Translation, bro. Oh, sorry, word to word.
yes, Prabhuji, please do the word for word.
Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the personality of Godhead said, Jnanam, knowledge acquired, Parama, extremely, Guhyam, confidential, me of me, Yat, which is Vijnana, realization, Samanvitam, coordinated, Sarahasyam, with devotional service, Tad, of that, Angamcha, necessary paraphernalia, Grihana, just try to take up, Gaditam, explained, Maya, by me. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Please, can somebody read the translation also?
Yes, bro.
The personality
The
of
personality
Godhead
of
said, okay,
Yes,
Prabhu, go.
Kanak, please go ahead with it.
The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for this process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Purport also, Prabhu.
Not yet, Mataji. Let's try to see this translation first. Knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very confidential and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Now, so from this, what do we understand as what is actually confidential, very confidential knowledge?
The knowledge about Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The knowledge about the Supreme Lord and the knowledge about how to serve him. Knowledge about the Supreme Lord means Guna, Karma, Leela, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, all that. Janma, Karma, Chame, Jivyam, everything, right? So when that knowledge of Krishna's form, pastimes, his character, his qualities, names, etc., in conjunction with how to serve him, and when we serve him, how does the Lord feel? How does he reciprocate? And what will be the feelings of the that the servant, the devotee will go through? All these are very confidential knowledge. That is why he is saying it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. Saragasyam mein. So he is talking exactly. He is talking about devotional service in the highest form, right? And here is where Krishna is giving the knowledge to Brahma, starting after 31. He will start from 33 onwards. You know.
It is meant for only elevated people, Prabhu, in devotion.
No, not like that. Elevated devotees, those who are in devotional service, they are the ones who are eligible for this confidential knowledge. Otherwise, everybody is given open. It's open. See, this knowledge of Krishna is open to everybody. No, who is stopping us from reading those Chaturshloki Bhagavatam? Nobody is putting a restriction that you can't read this without chanting 16 rounds. Correct?
Actually, Maya is stopping them, Prabhu.
Yes, that is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also in another, what is that chapter where which is titled Most Confidential?
9th chapter, Prabhuji, I guess.
So in the 9th chapter also he is saying Rahasyam. I am going to speak the Rahasyam to you. why it is so secret? He is actually telling this to everybody openly, na? Everybody knows Bhagavad Gita. Everybody knows Bhagavad. I mean, everybody knows that in Bhagavatam these things are there. Everybody is open to access it. Why still it is most confidential?
It is not
Prabhuji,
realized by these people stuck up in Maya.
Also, Prabhuji, what I feel, I mean, I have read in many of the purports Prabhupada has written, it is being revealed. So something is revealed by Krishna only if we are sincere in our service and in our sadhana.
Yes, Mataji, you are almost there. See, confidential here
Prabhu,
actually means that even though it is openly declared as a secret, still it remains a secret. Why? Because unless you practice it, you cannot experience it. So the experience is the ultimate confidential thing. The knowledge that Krishna is the supreme, that is not alone the confidential. The experience of that Krishna is the supreme is the most confidential. And for that, we have to follow the process. We have to surrender, we have to accept Krishna, we have to follow the sadhana, all these things we have to do. And then eventually, as a mercy, Krishna will give. Again, just because you are following these things, it doesn't mean that you will get it. Again, it's quite ultimately dependent on Krishna's mercy. That is why, even after declaring it openly that this is the most confident secret, it still remains a secret because hardly anybody is diving deep into it to extract it and taste that nectar.
So, Prabhuji, this word Vijnanam, that is what we
That is a
experience.
practice. That is the realization through experience. Anubhavam.
Anubhava. Okay.
Yes, Anubhavam Akila Shruti Saramekam. Unless you practice it and experience it, it will remain an enigma or puzzle to anybody and to us.
So the knowledge that is acquired should be put to practice.
Exactly.
Then only we will experience that. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Hare
And the knowledge that is why in conjunction with devotional service is telling. If you see, the confidential knowledge is that we are soul, we are not the body, we are eternal. So that knowledge is given, but then only through devotional service you can actually experience it. Otherwise, it will be a theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge is of no use. No? I mean, it will not create that impact in us anyway. Shiva Prabhu, I see you raise your hand.
Prabhuji, I want to quote one material experience. Even now, very well-versed, experienced teachers, they say these are the most important topics you need to cover. It's definite to come for the exam. But still more than 50% of the people might still fail even after giving the important tips. So it's basically about following the instructions and practicing so that we can get the success.
Very, very interesting. Very good example.
One more, Prabhuji, from my side.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
So it's like Krishna shares the password of devotional service to everybody, but that password is encrypted. So he keeps the key with him.
Either the password is encrypted or we are not typing the password
properly. Or we forgot the password.
We forget the password. We don't care what it is. Anyway, so that is the point. Even though he declared that this is the most confidential, still people are not willing to take it, realize it. That is I mean, Krishna is so confident that people will not take it. That is why he is declaring it so openly.
Prabhu, unless they released from clutches of Maya, they will not get taste of it.
Yes, Prabhu. Bahunam Janmanam Antena, Yanavan Mam Prapadyate. Somehow, somewhere they would have to do that. We will have to do it. So this is one example of Krishna Prabhupada saying that Brahma, Arjuna, and Uddhava, right? So let's go to Arjuna, where he is using the same confidential knowledge. You have to go to chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. 9.2. Who is opening it?
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Midamuttamam Pratyakshāvagam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam.
Again, here Pratyaksha Avagamam means Pratyaksha, but you will experience it personally. Anubhava. Avagamam, you understand it by direct experience. Right? It's a pavitram. It's the purest of the knowledge. Now let's read the translation.
The knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed.
Yeah, so he's so beautifully calling it as Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Right? So let's go further and read the purport. Purport is it's a long purport, but at least let some part you will read. At least where it is talking about the confidential knowledge.
Yeah, may I
Somebody
read, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kannada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Sandilya, and Vaishvanara. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now, the Lord says that this 9th chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendental knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. And the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service.
See how the consistency is. King of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. It was the same in 2931 also, if you remember. Right? It is done in conjunction with devotional service, right? Now, another important point that Prabhupada is bringing here is that one line before that line, that importance of this difference between the soul and the body.
The soul and the body.
Right? No knowledge talks about this difference between the soul and the body. Any material education you take or any other, even the so-called spiritual thing, they never touch the difference between body and soul. It's very basic thing. Once you, it's the starting point of devotional service, and the highest knowledge of other knowledge doesn't even touch this part. You go to any highest knowledge that you want to talk about, all the hot topics like artificial intelligence now these days. Those days it was quantum physics, quantum mechanics, whatever, they were all there. None of those were talking about the difference between body and soul. What is the use of gatasu nagatasu nanu sochanti pandita? That is Krishna's line. That one line till now, all the godowns and godowns of material education has not talked about. That one line, gatasmun, agatasmuncha. You don't find the difference between a body with a life air and body without the life. Body with a body that is alive and a body which is dead. What is the difference between these two bodies? You don't know. And you are talking about so many different knowledge. Nanu sochanti pandita. You're thinking you are a pandit. So that's why it is the most confidential, because the confidential knowledge involves understanding the difference between the soul and the body. That's the starting point. While we are talking about Krishna, his pastimes, serving him, his qualities, etc., the starting point of that is the understanding between the soul and the difference between the soul and the body. Without understanding this difference between soul and body, all those things, other things may not make so much of a sense to us because we are still not out of the bodily conception. See? Yes, Suresh Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. The best example is actually our own this group of Bhagavad Vichar. There are this such very paramount, very this confidential knowledge is being discussed. But in the group, very few people get attracted, and all people have other important material activities. So the importance
That
is
is
realized by very few only.
well, that is they may be busy in some other devotional service, Prabhu. Not everybody will be singing. This is not the only way, you know. When we asked this question to Maharaj, that's what he said. What about those people who are not uh, coming to the programs or joining us, Maharaj? When you asked like that, he said, don't worry about such people. Krishna has his own plans for them. He has his own engagements for them. Think that wherever they are doing devotional service. They may be in enjoying some thing in the mall. They may be busy watching a movie. Movie theater, they are doing devotional service. Think that they are in a coffee shop and doing devotional service. Yeah. Or in a pub and enjoying devotional service. You know, seeing Krishna in the pub. No, the reason Maharaj was saying this, I could see to a certain extent. May not be all reason I can decipher, but one thing I can definitely decipher is that this thought itself is not very encouraging to our own devotional service. Even to our own devotional service, it will be very disturbing when we think like that. I am distributing so many books, but who is not taking it? Nobody is taking it. I am speaking Bhagavatam, nobody is listening. Frankly speaking, there are many times in Rajkot or in other places, Nashik, wherever, it will be just Maharaj and 2-3 of us sitting and discussing some very, very confidential things, but Maharaj will talk as if he is talking to 1,000 people. The energy is the same. And that is why those lectures are released now. 20 years after, 15 years after his departure, those same lectures, people are saying, oh, my God, what an amazing lecture. And when he was actually speaking, only 2-3 hours are sitting there. And Prabhupada, when he was speaking the classes, not many were sitting in the beginning days at least. So these kind of things can be a little bit caustic to our own devotional service, is what Maharaj taught us. But at the same time, we pray that wherever they are doing devotional service. That's all. So we should not take at any time we should not take this monopoly that what I am doing is the only devotional service. All others are not. That is just one step before falling. Pride cometh before fall, we say, right? So that can happen.
So that is the difference
Sorry, Prabhu.
between pure souls and people like me. Prabhu, see, our thinking, my thinking is like that, but Maharaj's thinking is so high, you know. He's
Yeah.
appreciative of everybody. That is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should develop
And
that.
and the other thing is also that we should also not have this designation that see I am a preacher, I am a book distributor. Those kind of designations also should not sink into our heads. Then we are leading to we are just one step away from disaster.
Negative.
Yeah. Then I will start expecting respect everywhere. See, I will tell you a very practical example. Honestly speaking, I mean, right now I am in Rishikesh. I didn't know till yesterday morning that I will be coming to Rishikesh. I was in Delhi. I was there, doing some, my office work, and then of course my friend staying there with my friend. Suddenly I saw that, okay, weekend is there. Why don't we just go? Because I have to go back to this thing anyway. I can't wait for some time. So it was that I tried to book the ticket, and to my surprise, the ticket was there, it available. Then I said, okay, let me go. I came alone. And I first came up to Haridwar yesterday evening. Then I thought, okay, let's go to Rishikesh, because while coming back, I can probably stop on Haridwar like that. And before that, I just tried to find out if there is a ISKCON center here. And they called one of the devotees, Samaglila group gave me one contact of the local devotee here. And I called him, and to my surprise, he said, Prabhu, we have a humble facility like that. He said, no, Prabhu, I just thought I'll just come and, meet devotees and maybe attend Mangalarti. That's what I was saying. Then, okay, I came the auto rickshaw up to the point junction where straight if I go, I can go to the Triveni Ghat and the Dharmashala and all. That's about 3 kilometers. If I take a right turn, I can go to the ISKCON center. So that auto said, here is where I will stop. If you want to go further, I can go. I can't go. So I said, okay. I was standing at that point 50-50 thinking, should I go to some Dharmashala and stay? I don't want to inconvenience the devotees here. And I saw that it was about only 1 kilometer walk from the junction. I said, okay, let's just go and see how it is, and let's at least meet devotees and come back. If worst case, if the facility is not there, I can always come and find something somewhere. So to my surprise, when I went there, devotees were there. It's a nice, small place only. But to my surprise, it is one of the devotees, two of the devotees serving in Pune, the camp. They are the ones here. Immediately they recognized. Immediately they said, Prabhuji, I heard your lecture in our Radha Kunji temple. I also recognized them. Then they said, Prabhu, you can stay here and all that. To my surprise, the facility was much more than what I thought. And then immediately they said, I said, I'll just go see Ganga and chant there for a little bit, and then join the Mangalarti and chant with the devotees like that. But suddenly they are saying, you please give class. I mean, tomorrow there's some Sunday fest, it seems. Without knowing me, they just say, you just do this. So some seva will keep coming, and devotees were also helping. And for me, more than all these other things, the best boon is attending Mangalarti, chanting with the devotees, and then attending the Bhagavatam class. And these are the things that are most the best boon, you see. So I just came off that even if nothing is there, that's what, when you say savage mila, so dudh mila, mang mila, so pani, we say, right? So you just come without any expectation, then nice association of devotees. And the devotees also, because of the whatever whatever facilities Krishna gave, it is very pleasing. And I mean, then I was thinking my luck, if at that junction, if I decided to go straight and stayed in the Dharmashala or some hotel or somewhere, I would have missed out on Mangalarti, I would have missed out on chanting, I would have missed out on devotee association, I would have missed out on prasadam and everything.
Yes, sir.
So the right turn I took became the right turn.
Yeah.
It's
Otherwise,
Krishna's
it would have been a
arrangement,
wrong.
Prabhu.
It would have been a wrong turn. And the more interesting thing is, now the devotees are telling Prabhu, let's go for book distribution. We have a kirtan program in the evening, and then they say, we go to there. They've already gone to Dehradun for book distribution. I said, I have this online class, otherwise I would have come with you. And then they will probably go somewhere else for another place for book distribution. So you get opportunities to serve also. You see. So this is really the what I am seeing is that the effect of understanding the importance of the confidential knowledge in conjunction with devotional service. Now, the confidential knowledge means about Krishna is Nama Guna Rupa Leela. This is Krishna's Leela actually. Krishna's Leela is not the only thing that is there in the 90 chapters in the Krishna book. This is also Krishna's Leela. He could have directed me anywhere. Right? walking that in that night, walking in the cold, I thought, there's nobody there. It's like just a empty road. Night 9 o'clock, I was walking in Rishikesh. I was thinking, what if I don't know there? I have to come back in the cold again. But then it just took the thing, this is where, when for the knowledge to be transformed into appreciation of its, in order to appreciate that confidential knowledge, we have to combine with devotional service. In other words, we have to practically do it. In other words, you have to jump into the dark. When you have to practically apply the knowledge, often than not, you have to jump into the dark. The knowledge is Krishna is the supreme protector. How will you experience it? In the most trying circumstances, you just raise your hand like Draupadi or Gajendra and accept Krishna as the protector. That's when you'll experience that mercy, isn't it?
Absolutely, Prabhu.
So that is very important. And then Krishna supplies abundant mercy. You can go to Triveni Ghat and take Snan and come back. But even more nectarian than that is doing book distribution or Harinam Sankirtan there, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, yes, Suresh Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, you share the reciprocation of Lord Krishna with you.
Yeah, we acknowledge that reciprocation, Prabhu. That is really the devotional service. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, sorry, you raised your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji, just I want to just share some feeling of mine. If you see Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1 to 6, Krishna is telling to Arjun almost the same thing what he is saying even after after chapter number 7. But during the chapter number 7, he says beautifully one thing, Jnanam te aham sa vijnana idam vakshami asestah. That means, again, he is differentiating between the Gyan and the Vigyan. And if you see the mood of Arjun during the chapter 1 to 6, down up to 6, he is little bit in an argumentative mood. I mean, you say something, I also say something. You say something, I agree to some extent, but then I have a counter to say that, okay, I agree with these conditions. So the conditions were imposed in it. And then Krishna, by the time it goes up to the chapter 7, Arjun realizes that he is the supreme personality of the Godhead. He realized, but the complete mood of the surrender once comes to him, then only Krishna says that, okay, fine, now till now I have explained you the Gyan, that means the knowledge, but now I am going to say you the Vigyan, which is the application of the knowledge. And as soon as you apply the knowledge,
very good point, Prabhu. You will see that after 6th chapter, Arjuna will not have any challenging questions.
Exactly.
That Chanchalam hi mana Krishna
Exactly.
Pramati Balavadridam. No, that shloka or Vayur Duskaram. That shloka is probably one of the last challenging question that Arjuna has. And that is why from 7 to 12 is the devotional service chapters.
Exactly. And the second point, just I wanted to share with you, normally if we see the Hindi meaning of devotion is bhakti. I mean, if anybody says that you pray to Lord, you pray to Krishna, and what you get in turn, you get in turn his mercy, his bhakti. But Prabhupada, his divine Srila Prabhupada, he explains the bhakti as a devotional service. So it is not, one-to-one translation. If you see, bhakti is devotion. But Prabhupada says, bhakti is not devotion, it is devotional service. And what does this service mean? Service means that you do something, some tangible action you perform after surrendering. Then only once you perform certain service, you, as a reciprocation, get the mercy of Lord Krishna, and you get to have the experience and understand what is going on. So this is the true bhakti, that devotional service. And once you have the service, then only you can experience. And then once you experience, it is the Vigyan. That means the application. So that is why, as the last, as the king of all, confidential knowledge culminates into the devotional service, not in the devotion.
Yeah, beautiful point, Prabhu. And why Krishna is speaking this confidential knowledge only to Arjuna Brahmanda? The word Prabhupada says in the other purport 2931 that Rahasyam means devotional service. Beautifully say Rahasyam means Rahasyam means secret, confidence. This means devotional service, right? Then he's saying why Lord Krishna instructed Arjuna this confidential knowledge only to Arjuna. Why Krishna instructed this confidential knowledge only to Arjuna?
Because Krishna says you are my friend and devotee.
Yeah. Yeah. So the devotee and friend, it's a beautiful thing, you know. What is that? What is that word? Aptosime sakacheti, ragasyam hi etaduttamam. Of devotees, of my devotees, you are my friend. There is even among devotees being a friend of Krishna is even friend does not mean only Sakya. Friend actually means anyone who can understand the heart of Krishna, understand the what Krishna feels, what Krishna wants, and act on it. Right? Beautiful things. See, just that one word, confidential knowledge, has so many meanings. Even we are not exhausted yet. So let's read further in that 9.2 purport, because 9.2 purport is a very, very powerful purport in the entire Bhagavad Gita. Let's read. Who is reading?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm reading, Prabhu. Generally, people are not educated in this confidential knowledge. They are educated in external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, engineering, etc. There are so many departments of knowledge all over the world and many huge universities, but there is unfortunately no university or educational institution where the science of the spirit soul is instructed. The soul is the most important part of the body. Without the presence of the soul, the body has no value. Still, people are placing great stress on the bodily necessities of life and not caring for the vital soul. The Bhagavad Gita, especially from the second chapter on, stresses the importance of the soul. In the very beginning, the Lord says that this body is perishable and that the soul is not perishable. Antavanta ime deha nityasyoktah satrinaha. That is a
Sharirinaha.
I feel like saririnaha. That is a confidential part of knowledge. Simply knowing that the spirit soul is different from this body and that its nature is immutable, indestructible, and eternal.
See, but this anybody can say, oh, okay, soul is there, body is there. Okay, what is a big deal? What do you want to do? But then he's saying that is the confidential part of knowledge. Antavanta ime deha. There is an anta for deha. But nityasya uktaha sharirinaha. Shariri. Sharira. Shariri. Sharira means body. Shariri means one who wants the body. That is, in other words, it's the soul. Deha dehi. Right? Shariri. Nitya. Shariri is nitya. Means soul is nitya. But deha is anitya. That's what that line means. Right? And that is the confidential part of knowledge. Why it is confidential? Because you will not understand it unless and until you practice it or realize it through practice. You won't be able to be convinced by that. You may just simply say theoretically, yes, yes, yes. But real conviction is possible only when you understand it through practical realization. Only you experience it through practical realization. Please continue.
Yeah, but that gives no positive information about the soul. Sometimes people are under the impression that the soul is different from the body and that when the body is finished or one is liberated from the body, the soul remains in a void and becomes impersonal. But actually, that is not the fact. How can the soul, which is so active within the body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active. And its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. These activities of the spirit soul are therefore indicated here as constituting the king of all knowledge, the most confidential part of all knowledge.
So see here once more Prabhupada is using the word confidential. If it is eternal, then it is eternally active. And its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. Now, in order to see, this is where the biggest challenge is. What Krishna is doing in the spiritual world, we cannot appreciate still being in this material body. Unless and until you are situated in the soul platform, you cannot appreciate what Krishna is doing there. You can only hear, oh, Krishna does this, Krishna sheets butter, Krishna kills. This is just story like that you can hear. But actually, for us to appreciate the nuances and greatness and glories of those pastimes, we have to be on the spiritual platform, the soul platform. In other words, we have to be situated. Our vision, our seeing, our perceiving, our understanding, our grasping, everything should be at the soul platform, not at the body platform. This is what in the next verse Narada Muni is going to say. In the previous verse also he said that once I got that knowledge, I understood that only in the ignorance I was understanding this gross and subtle body to be different. We read that verse 1:529 or something, right? Just one verse before, if you remember. 1:528 or 29. Only in my ignorance I was thinking this gross and subtle body to be mine. To be which one is it? 1:528, no? Let's see here.
1:527, Prabhu.
20. Yeah, 1:527. Sorry.
Yes.
See, as soon as I got the taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted the gross and subtle coverings for both the Lord and I are transcendental. So this is where the ignorance is playing its part. Still, we are thinking that we are this body. When we understand and practice on the soul platform, actions or activities, practice our actions, every single action on the soul platform, then we will be able to appreciate the nuances of this thing, the difference between the body and the soul, then the Krishna's pastimes, because we have to come to the transcendental platform to understand the transcendence. He is Param Pavitram. Unless until we become Pavitram, how can we appreciate Param Pavitram? If you have to appreciate the fire, if you have to be like fire. If you with the normal hand, if I go and touch the fire, I will not be able to appreciate the fire. I will immediately take the hand and come out. Right. So let's get back to that. Anyone else wants to read further or any questions, comments? So much is there about this confidential knowledge only. To understand is that this is confidential knowledge, it's still a great thing. Then experiencing it and appreciating it is the next another level.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
But many times we keep talking like a parrot, we are not the body. Body is different, soul is different, body is soul different. But how when we act on that platform, we can actually experience it.
Yeah, we have theoretical knowledge.
Yeah.
But we need to
If I'm on the soul platform, I should take both the person criticizing me and both the person blaming me or blaspheming me equally.
Yeah, that's why in chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita.
Ninda. What is that? Stuti Ninda. What is that? Tulya Ninda Stuti Mauni Santushto Yena Kenachit. Tulya Ninda Stuti Mauni. He sees both Ninda and Stuti, both the same. Only a soul, self-realized soul can act like that. Right?
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
this devotion is itself is a very, very confidential thing, actually. As Krishna
Correct.
said to Brahma. But Prabhupada,
Correct.
with his mercy, is distributing from the first counter, openly is distributing to each and every different fallen soul also.
Yeah.
So that is the mercy of this our parampara and our acharyas. So that is actually people think it is very, very rare and confidential, but Prabhupada and all our acharyas made it so easy to access to each and every small soul. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Prabhu, just Prabhupada is simply distributing Rasgulla, and he says, don't do research on this, how it is like a so spongy. And I've taken sponges from the shops, but they are not tasting sweet like this. But these are spongy also, sweet like taste also, and very nourishing also. So how is it made? Prabhupada says, don't worry about how is it made. I will supply you rasgulla, just simply eat. That's what the devotional service is like. Is like that rasgulla. You don't care. Well, as long as the supply is there, you just keep eating. Of course, eventually, when we have to distribute, we will start eating so much that we want to distribute more and more rasgullas to others also. For that, we need the recipe, and for that, Prabhupada has arranged for the cookbooks and so many different ways to reveal the secret, confidential knowledge of making rasgullas.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Let's read further.
Can I continue, or Prabhu? Is that fine?
Who wants to read? Maybe someone else?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
This knowledge is the purest form of all activities. As explained in Vedic literature, in the Padma Purana, man's sinful activities have been analyzed and are shown to be the results of sin. After sin, those who are engaged in fruitive activities are entangled in different stages and forms of sinful activities. For instance, when the seed of particular tree is sown, the tree does not appear immediately to grow it. It takes some time. It is first a small sprouting plant, then it assumes the form of a tree, then it flowers and bears fruit, and when it is complete, the flowers and fruits are enjoyed by the person who have sown the seeds of the tree. Similarly, a man performs a sinful action, and like a seed, it takes time to fructify. There are different stages. The sinful action may have already stopped within the individuals, but the result or the fruit of that sinful action are still to be enjoyed. There are sins which are still in the form of a seed, and there are others which are already fructified and even giving us result, which we are enjoying as distress and pain.
So why Prabhupada is suddenly telling that he's saying all these things are part of the confidential knowledge? How I am suffering the karma, how to get rid of this karmic reaction, why I am suffering, when I'm doing good, why I am suffering. All these questions are answered by this confidential knowledge. Okay, let's read further. This purport is wonderful purport. Entire Krishna conscious philosophy is put inside this one purport. Let's say Prabhupada has invested so much time. It's one of the longest purports in Bhagavad Gita. After the one or two other multiple verses are there, no? Apart from that, this is one of the longest ones.
Yeah, Prabhuji, anybody would like to read this?
Yeah. Anyone would want to read? Yes.
I will read from as explained in the 28th verse of the 7th chapter. A person who has
So what is that
completely
28th verse of 7th chapter? Yesham tu antakatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridamrataha. Let's read the translation.
persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Wonderful.
Yeah, please get back to the.
Prabhu, it's
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita 7:12 also we have this, no Prabhu. Aprarabdham phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam krameneva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmanaha. For those who are engaged in
The
the
purport, yes,
devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in the stalk or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of the devotional service is very strong, and it is called Pavitram Uttamam, the purest. Uttama means transcendental. Oh, we have so much. When we read all this, when I read all these things, I never understood Prabhu. Now attending it, it is
Nice,
so vast
Mataji.
the knowledge. Yeah.
No, that's very nice. You know, but Prabhupada is given slowly when we read, they will all come to make senses. You know, they will make sense. Okay, so let's read further. Here only it is coming. You just read it. It's there in this purport itself. Okay, Suresh Prabhu, you are reading. Where is Suresh Prabhu?
I read Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
As explained in the 28 verses of the 7th chapter, a person who has completely ended the reactions of all sinful activities and who is fully engaged in pious activities, being freed from the duality of the material world, becomes engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. In other words, those who are actually engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord are already free from all reactions. This statement is confirmed in Padma Purana. Apararabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukham karmeri rayava praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. For those who are engaged in the devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, all sinful reactions, whether fructified in the stalk or in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. Therefore, the purifying potency of devotional service is very strong, and it is called Pavitram, Uttamam, the purest. Uttam means transcendental. Tamas means this material world or darkness. And Uttam means that which is transcendental to material activities. Devotional activities are never to be considered material, although sometimes it appears that devotees are engaged just like ordinary men. One who can see and is familiar with devotional service will know that they are not material activities. They are all spiritual and devotional. Sorry, uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is said.
Piyush Prabhu, sorry, Piyush, you raised your hand for something.
Yes, हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी प्रणाम हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी आवाज आ रही है आपको
Yes,
Prabhu, we are able to.
Yes, Prabhu.
In the translation of Bhagavad Gita 7.28, the word is action is used, and in this the purport there is the reaction word is used. What is the means? How you understand the translation?
Where Prabhu in 7.28?
Yes, Prabhuji, in the translation of 7.28, the action word is all sinful actions completely eradicated. And in the purport which we are reading, which we have just read the paragraph in Bhagavad Gita, that paragraph 7.28, and the action word is used.
Come back to this, Prabhu. in 9.2.
Yes, Prabhuji. 9.2 में just read the it is
Where that verse is explained.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. In the this paragraph above.
Where it
Scroll
says
down a little.
no, where is that in the 7th chapter,
In the
28th verse.
yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Go up, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. This a person who has completely ended
The
the
reactions of all sinful activities.
So the actions which are we commit means or the reaction is what we get after sinful actions.
Yes.
So means they both are same actually, the cause and effect basically.
Prabhu,
both are same.
They are interchangeable. Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, karma is used for both action and reaction.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You know why? Because action leads to more, reaction leads to more action normally.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So a reaction is actually as equally meaningful as reaction. Like I am acting, some reaction comes, then I am reacting to it. That is also an action, correct?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So when the reaction stops, maybe gradually I take to devotional service and the original sinful action attitude also goes down.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Unless you take to devotional service, it is not possible. The bija will continue to stay there. You may take out the weeds, but the seed will stay there. So attitude will stay there. So in Bhagavad Gita, you will see in many places, karma is used for both action and reaction.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Both are interchangeably used because at a karmi level, or at a materialistic level, we normally react to the reaction and create more action and reaction and reaction. That action-reaction chain keeps going on. So eventually, there is no difference between action and reaction.
Okay.
There is one verse, Pratikriyana.
Bhagavatam, at least in the beginning, Prabhu, I don't remember where, it says if you are studying Bhagavatam, the seeds which are fried, the seeds that are fried cannot sprout. So all those sinful seeds are destroyed by the Parayana of Bhagavatam.
It's in the 10th canto, it is there, but Barchita Katita Hidana. Search, wait a minute. Krishna says that. Only it comes.
Or introduction of Bhagavatam, somewhere in the beginning only.
No, he might have just mentioned it as a text, but verse is there.
Verse.
What is that? It doesn't sprout again. Boiled seeds, like the boiled seeds can never sprout again. I'll find it out. There's a nice verse in the 10th canto. He tells this to the gopis, actually. Okay, let's continue. How much more of the purport is there?
What is there, Prabhu? 8, 4, 5.
Sorry?
5, 6 paragraphs are there. 5, 6.
Okay, then in that case, let's give a logical stop here. We will read further in our next session and go further on that confidential knowledge part. I think we need to spend a bit more time. Any questions, comments before we close? I do have some services. So any questions, comments?
So we have to just um, do our devotional service without deviating our mind about
Do
anything
anything else?
else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then Krishna will give us more and more opportunities to serve him.
And in that process, all these Kuta, Bija, all these Papam, they are also destroyed. So that our vision of devotional service is more and more and more clear. You know? Our perception, the way we see devotional service will be even more clear and clear. There won't be any doubts in our minds.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Really, it is
Great,
Krishna's
really, that's
plan that
Prabhupada
we
is
are
so
connected
merciful.
to
Huh?
it. We are
No,
in
go,
this
go.
Krishna
Prabhupada is so
consciousness.
merciful, you know, his books, you know, we have to read like this together, you know, that alone if we read, we may not get we may get to a certain extent, but we may not get fully, you know. So that's the beauty of reading Prabhupada's books together.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we were discussing about this, differentiating between the body and the soul, right? So, understanding it in that way, that is a gradual process, right? So, Prabhuji, as we make progress, so it is indicated. Is it indicated by the? In every situation we see that the eternality of the soul. It is eternal, and then when we try to realize that, then we can say that okay, we are moving on that path. Is my understanding correct, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it is a gradual process, correct, but not a slow process. It depends on how intensely we are taking it up. The more intensely we take it up, the more faster it will be. For Narad Muni, it was in the crash course mode. He could do it very quickly. Dhruva Maharaj could do it in crash course mode, 6 months finish. So the only reason it is slow is because we are like the anchored boats, Prabhu. We have anchored our boats and we are still rowing all night and still staying in the same place. Our one hand is one leg is on the one boat and another leg is on the another boat, and then we try to, you know, it is not. I mean, the point is not that, you know, you give up all your material activities and then come to, not like that. Not giving up the activity, but dovetailing those activities in Krishna service. The same thing you'll have to do. You'll have to take care of Gauranga, you take care of parents, you have to take care of Mataji. All those things only you will have to do. But just do it with Krishna's in the center. That's all. As a service to Krishna. So when we do that, then the process is rapid process. It is not a slow process. And in the next verse, Narad Muni will say beautifully that. By that confidential knowledge, I was able to differentiate between activities of the body and the activities of the soul. Right? This is exactly how, at the end of the day, we should do. I was able to understand what is that. Let's read the translation only for 1531. The next verse. Sorry. He says, by that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Sri Krishna, the creator, maintainer and annihilator of everything. What is that thing he's saying? 30, sorry, it's the next one, the verse 31. This is something which you have to discuss very much in detail, but I'll just tell in short that understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Sri Krishna means where Krishna's pleasure potency or spiritual energy is acting on, where Krishna's material energy is acting on. These two things you will be able to differentiate. And we have examples from Bhagavatam itself to prove that. So this is the ultimate end of our practicing that confidential knowledge. And when you see these things, who is acting on who is acting on whom, you will remain unagitated. And you will also not react to the way we are normally reacting. When you see Krishna's hand behind all these things, you will not react to situation in the material way. You will react to situation in a transcendental way. Do you understand?
Yes,
You
Prabhu.
will act on the soul platform, not on the body platform. The whole idea is to get there, that's all. So we'll get there. We'll just finish these purports and try to understand a little bit more of that word confidential knowledge phrase. Then we'll be able to get even more nectar out of it. I saw Rajesh Prabhu quoting a beautiful quote here. Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward is you see what you believe. Beautiful statement it is. Thanks, Rajesh Prabhu. And Piyush Prabhu is quoting proof in BG 491. Who knows the transient nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful quote. Okay. Yes, Suresh Prabhuji, you had something?
Yeah, Prabhuji, this is the most confidential knowledge. What we discussed is the most important thing of our life to achieve and realize it and practice it, isn't it, Prabhu?
Definitely, that is the whole idea. Krishna is saying that is the whole idea behind that is this revealing this for us to practice and then appreciate it. Only when you practice, you can appreciate it. Beautiful, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this we'll end for the day, and then I pray to all of you here in to Mother Ganga.
Please,
that
Prabhuji,
you know we are. So do some extra rounds going around chanting for you all. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, I was thinking you very much. We enjoyed really all the confluences some years ago. Now you are sitting in your office room in Delhi, and in spirit you will be with me.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Please pray for us.
Unfortunately, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says spirit does not get wet, soul doesn't get wet. So even if I push you into Ganges, you will not be wet because you only in spirits you are here. So sometimes it is good to have the body, Prabhu. Anyway, so Krishna's arrangement. So wish all a happy weekend, Prabhus, Matajis. Krishna willing, we'll see you soon. I was thinking of putting a message saying that I'm in a place where I don't have internet access. So today's class is cancelled. But see Krishna's mercy, as soon as I enter here, the devotee from Pune, Abhimanyu Prabhu, he said, Prabhuji, do you need Wi-Fi? As soon as I saw my laptop, he said, do you need Wi-Fi? And here's the password and everything. And it's all working fine. So otherwise you would not have had this class.
It was exceptionally good, Prabhuji, today.
Nice. All devotees mercy. Thank you so much, Prabhu Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Jai, Srila Prabhupada Jai, Srila Gurudev, Chananta Koti Vaishnava Jai, Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Vancha Kalpatara Vyascha, Kripasantu Vyascha, Patita Navani Vaishnava Bhyo Namaha, Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji. We'll see you soon. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat.
Thank you, Prabhu.